Hey guys, welcome back. We are going to dive into 4 reasons why people will struggle to actually move on and get over their ex. Let's be honest, there is no time frame, there's no magic pill that we can take that just boom, we're over it. A lot of times we don't want to admit that we're vulnerable or that we do miss this person, and we're not really working on ourselves to help cultivate like a good life. We're kind of living in projection, we're living in the past. It can become a really addictive place to live in. First thing I'm going to tell you is that if you're living in projection, and sometimes people don't even know that they're living in projection, but projection is not real life. Projection is fantasy. It is not the reality of who a person is and the type of relationship that you are actually in. We don't want to face that reality. We don't want to see them with clear eyes. And to be honest, if you're wounded, if you're insecure, if you come from fear, if you come from lack, you won't be able to see this person with clear eyes. You will always see them from the lens in which you live in. When someone's living in projection, they're kind of stuck in this cycle of thinking that what they want to have happen is within reach, that they're going to actually get what they want if they just try a little harder, if they work a little harder. So this has a lot to do with insecurity and codependency, because if you're healthy and you have a good sense of self-esteem, a good sense of self-worth, you take people at face value. You don't try to conform people and change people. You're not manipulating them. You're not codependent. You just feel good in your own skin. So you don't really need this person for the unhealthy reasons that a wounded person needs this relationship or needs this person in their life. We'll just become addicted to, like I said, the cycle of thinking that this relationship was going to be everything, or that this person was my soulmate and that I'm losing in some way. When you're stuck in those thoughts and that rumination, it's very hard to look at the situation with clear eyes. You're not going to allow yourself to move on. Moving on is actually a decision and a choice that you make over and over and over again. Now, you have to balance that with feeling disappointment, feeling frustration, feeling sad sometimes because you're a human being and you feel. And so you have to balance these two things. You have to balance the feelings that you feel regarding situations that you're in. And of course, sometimes the feelings that you feel are coming from faulty stories that you're telling yourself as well. So you start to realize that the more I start telling myself the truth, that this is who this person is, that this relationship was actually not good for me, that I will meet someone, right? We can't just like stay in this reality or the truth of, oh, this person's toxic and I'm perfectly healthy. No, let's be completely honest with ourselves. The honest answer here is that this person wasn't right for you, and that that's okay. Not everyone you meet is going to be the love of your life. But this is your opportunity to look at yourself and say, okay, what are some things that I was doing in this relationship that I am not happy about, that I don't want to be that way for my next partner? And these are the things that you're working on by yourself. We all have a past and we all have things that we're trying to like overcome and deal with, but we're trying to rebuild our self-esteem here. We're trying to look at ourselves and say, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to look at this person with clear eyes. I'm going to look at my standards in relationships. I'm really going to start examining like all these different areas of my life, and I am going to take full responsibility for them. I'm going to start healing some things. I'm going to start rebuilding some things. I'm going to start setting goals for myself. Like, you have to have that hunger inside, that drive, and that's something that you have to cultivate every day. That's something that you make an effort to have every single day. That's why I tell people all the time, when you are going through a breakup, when you're going through a divorce, when you're going through just a difficult time in life, it is necessary that you feed your mind, and not just feed your mind with educational videos that give you validation that this person was kookaloo and that you're the healthy one. No, we don't need to be sitting on the therapist couch and just solely get validation. We need to also say, how do I need to be taking better care of myself? How can I be getting out of my comfort zone? I deserve love. I deserve wealth. I deserve a great job. And we have to start goal setting. It took going through this painful situation or relationship for you to wake up. That's totally fine. That's perfectly okay. You're here, and that's all that matters. You're no longer with your head in the sand or on that side. You're now on the other side, and you're going to start working on rebuilding. But when you think that you are the problem, you think that something you did caused this, or that all of their actions had to do with you, that you were a nag, that you weren't pretty enough, that you weren't good enough, that you didn't do this enough. If that's the story that's being played in your mind, your self-esteem is already low. Let's just be honest. It's going to just keep doing this. This is for the person that probably is new to this, where they really don't understand the animal that they were dealing with, and they are just constantly blaming themselves because the other person told you that you were the reason why they don't love you anymore, or that they did this. There was never an acknowledgement on their part to say, sorry that I did all these things. Sorry I behaved in this way because I have issues. I have my own stuff that I don't even know what's going on inside of here, but it's on me. It's not on you. You didn't have that person. Let's just be honest. And you probably still don't have that person. If you have to co-parent, if you have to still deal with someone who is unhealthy, most people are not going to acknowledge, yeah, I'm the problem, or yes, I have these things that I have to work on. Most people don't. They like to project. They like to put it on you. They like to say that you were the problem. And if you take the bait and you just keep feeding that story, guess what? Your self-esteem goes down, your self-worth goes down. You are stuck in this cycle, or you're stuck at the mercy of this person telling you that no, it wasn't you, it was actually me. You don't need them to tell you that. You don't need the validation to know that they're not healthy. Now, this doesn't mean that you're just so incredibly healthy and they're not, but it does mean that there is a really big problem here. I'm going to look at my actions and take responsibility for them, and you need to do the same. But most people are not going to do that. Most people who are narcissistic, unhealthy, completely, no one's behind the wheel, you're not going to get any of that from them. I cannot tell you how many people I've just even known personally that allowed a situation to make them feel like they were the problem, that they weren't good enough, that there was something wrong with them, and that those sprinklings of lies kept them stuck in not feeling like they deserved more, or not pushing themselves out of their comfort zone. Like they just didn't have a really high sense of self-worth because of those comments, and they let those comments continue. Now, if someone wants to deem you the problem, that's fine. You can't control that. But whether or not you take that and feed it and run with it, now this is something that has to do with you. This is where we're in an addictive cycle of believing the lies, and we have to go against the lies to affirm who we actually are, what we really deserve. That takes work. So if you're not putting that work into you building yourself up every single day, no, I am important. No, I am a catch. No, I am going to have this. No, I do deserve this. If you're not affirming that every day, when other people tell you that you're the problem, you just believe them and you just feed it, because you have to feed a story. Every day we feed stories. Now, whether or not they're good stories or bad stories, that's where you get to choose. But someone can, put a story right in front of you. The news does that. Society does that. People in your life do that. They come with their own fears, their own worries, their own insecurities, their own projections. And when it shoots at you, you have free will to decide, am I going to take this, feed it, and roll with it? Or am I going to reject it and replace it with something else? That's your free will. Let's talk about number 3. The addiction to overthink is so incredibly real. Ruminating and overthinking is a form of anxiety. We want the control to know, what was the problem? Was it me? Was it you? Like there's just this anxious need for validation or control, and a lot of people don't even know that they're like circling and circling and ruminating. They just love it. It's an addiction. And even though they know nothing good is going to come of this, they still want to do it and want to do it. When you're coming out of real significant trauma, I know that that's really hard to do, because essentially your brain has been hijacked and you don't always have control over the thoughts that your mind is going to produce. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't consciously decide what you're going to think in every single moment. You start doing something at work, you start driving in the car, you start, mowing the lawn, and all of a sudden your mind just starts blah, 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 and it kind of goes off and it does what it wants to do and it starts creating thoughts that it wants to think. But when you can acknowledge, oh, look, I'm now indulging in this fear thought, worry thought, insecure thought, jealous thought, whatever, that's where you have free will. So you only have free will when you're consciously aware. When you're not consciously aware, you're going to just do what you've always done. And that's why rumination and thinking and overthinking is such an addiction, because when you're doing it, you're not aware that you're doing it. You're only aware that you're doing it when you start suffering. When you start suffering and you're hitting enough pain, then all of a sudden it's like your mind kind of wakes up and it goes, oh, wait, I'm in pain. Like, why am I in pain? But most people don't understand the process of being aware of all of that. That, oh, look, I'm indulging in this thought. Oh, look, they're not mindfully practicing this stuff. I feel like this is especially true when you're going through a difficult time. When you're going through a difficult time, it's just like being sick. When you're sick, you take care of your body, you make sure you're eating well, you make sure you're drinking enough liquids, all of those things. You start checking off the box. And maybe you weren't doing that previously, and that's why you got sick. And this is no different. When your mind starts to get sick and it's like ruminating and going over the story over and over again, and oh my God, this was the love of my life and I'm the victim, and that just is too much, and you start to really feel like crap, that's your opportunity to go, okay, I guess I haven't been taking care of myself. I guess I haven't been taking care of my emotional and my mental state. A big part of rumination also has to do with loneliness and boredom. I know this sounds a little ridiculous, but most people don't have enough friends, a big enough circle. They don't have a lot of stuff on their list of fun things to do throughout the week. They're just consumed with life and work and responsibilities, and they don't ever kind of stop and pause and say, what will actually bring me joy this week? What is something that I want to do? What's something that's good for me to do? It is important to start creating more of a fulfilling life for yourself, and you get to determine what that looks like. I talk about this a lot in my high value boot camp. In that course, we talk all about the different areas of life. We talk about your financial life, your romantic life, your friendships, your hobbies, your home life, all of those things, because at every point in your life, you are working on a different area, regardless of what you go through in life. Divorce, breakup, difficulty, anxiety, depression, whatever it is. Like, I lost my job. And no matter what happens to you in life, there's these 7 areas of life, and we're always examining all of them. Now, when life becomes really overwhelming, it's when all 7 of these areas, or maybe like 5 or 6, like a lot of areas in your life need changing, or they are changing. So when too many areas of your life are changing, we can all become very overwhelmed. And this is where we tend to get stressed, get anxiety, depression, things like that. But for the most part, if we're just living life and we're balancing life, there's always 1 or 2 of these 7 areas that are at the top of the list. Maybe you are looking to buy a house. Well, guess what? Your home life is at the top of the list. Maybe you are single and you're looking to meet someone. Well, a relationship, romantic relationship, is at the top of the list. So if you feel lonely, like you just want to be around people, then you need to have people around you, and you need to start creating a life where there are people around you and you can share and give love and get love in return and have those kind of interactions. That's important. If you feel lonely even when you are around a lot of people, that's because you're just not parenting yourself. That's because the stories that your mind is constructing are taking you down rabbit holes and you feel less than. If you are feeling less than because, if you're honest with yourself, you're just kind of bored in life and there's nothing really fun and exciting going on and you're not working towards anything, then this is your opportunity to look at these 7 areas of your life and think to yourself, okay, well, what area do I want to focus on now? I do a lot of this when I coach people, is the aspect of goal setting, because the difference between when I had been in therapy years ago, and I've dabbled in it over the years during different transitions, I loved it. It was great, but there is a point, I feel like, unless you have a really great therapist that knows both aspects of therapy and of moving a person forward, I feel like a lot of therapy that doesn't happen, where you're able to move forward. You're just able to get the validation. You learn some things about yourself, and the acknowledgement maybe is huge, but you're kind of like living here. The aspect of coaching is, we're going to spend 1 minute in the past, we're going to sit in it. I'm going to give you the validation because you need it. It's important, but we need to be moving forward. We need to be goal setting, and not just like, ooh, let's goal set to like achieve and like, let's make $1 million. Yeah, that's great. But I want you to goal set, but I also want you to be really content and happy with where you are, regardless of what you have or don't have right now. So finding that balance is key, at least for me in my practice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to hit subscribe down below. Don't forget to also click on the notification bell so you can get informed when I upload a new video. We are uploading a couple more videos a week just to give you guys and start answering some of your questions. We're going to start talking about some wellness stuff and real significant motivation, because when you're going through these difficult times, it's so incredibly important to learn how to get over this hump and just get yourself on that other side. And that's what I hope this channel does for you, as my computer just gives me a notification. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.